is the GNU going to last? I said, any other question? They said, no. We want to leave London. We want to take our money back into South Africa. London is becoming impossible, but we want you to answer that question. I said, the GNU is going to last for one reason. I said, yes, it's going to last. They say, what's your reason? I said, I don't even think we like each other in the GNU. I don't really like the DA. They definitely hate me. We don't really like each other. But we sure as hell despise the guys that are on the outside. None of us would open the door for Malema and for Zuma to enter. And there's no greater motivation for us to tolerate each other, because non-tolerance of each other means that door is wide open for the people that we don't want in the GNU. That is what I told them. And I said to them that there's no way anybody, South Africans will not forgive any party that breaks the GNU. It's our best hope to rebuild our country.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another epic episode of Newsology, a political channel. I implore you to please join me as we'll be having this great discussion. So we have seen this post, right? Remember this post? That the ANC is looking to approach the EFF in terms of them to support their budget increase, their tax increase, right? So the EFF has responded finally to that matter, in which many of us were asking ourselves that, do you think the EFF will agree to this? We know that the CIC is so determined and have the desire to be part of the GNU. But now the problem is one, that there is some obstacles that is just stopping the EFF not to want to be involved in the GNU. So the stake is high, and there are some serious conditions that the EFF has for the ANC. So I never understood this stance of the ANC to say that they will approach the EFF while they know quite well the position of the EFF, right? So what is the position of the ANC? The ANC, their problem is one. They are not willing to go left. They are not willing to go to the EFF or the MK party. They want to continue working under the GNU formation of the DA, the FF+, the UTM, and the IFP. To them, that is the fair deal to them. But now the problem now is that the DA is ending up becoming annoying to them, because it is busy having this standard and pushing them now, adding things that it's not about the budget or tax increase anymore. So it's more like they are sabotaging the ANC to agree to their terms. Then they will agree with them and vote for this budget, but not what the ANC is putting on the table. So the DA is very smart about this, because they know that if they allow this even a slightly increase, the opposition parties such as the MK and the EFF and others, they will use this as a weapon to what? To decampaign the GNU to the people of South Africa, and to decampaign the DA personally of their agenda and the ANC of their agenda. So to them, they're just playing politics. They see that 2026 is around the corner. They cannot make uncalculative mistake, because that will cost them votes. So they are saying no. They are resisting the ANC and saying no. So now the ANC is pushed to the corner to an extent that now you saw Mbalula, his reaction was not quite good, sending a message directly so to the DA. So now the thing is, the only way that now the ANC must get their way, manipulated by the DA. So they need to do the master's manipulation back towards the DA. So they threatened them to say that we will use the EFF as our proxy. Not because they want to go to the EFF, but they are threatening the DA about the EFF, because they know that the DA doesn't want EFF near the GNU. So the ANC pull out now this stance to say, oh, we'll approach the EFF. You can't approach the EFF, because the EFF is clear. What is the stance of the EFF? Let us go to what Marshall Dlamini said, because Marshall Dlamini explained the standing of the EFF, and if you don't understand that, we are in trouble. The ANC needs to understand the stance of the EFF, including the DA. What is the standard of the EFF? Let us listen here.
Look, we've got a chief whip now, a national chairperson, Commissar Nontando Nolchum. But the ANC, yes, they've communicated with us. They are whipper. Met with our whipper this week, I think Tuesday, where they wanted to discuss the issue of the budget. But you can see they are still negotiating in a dishonest way. The ANC, they are in the GNU, in their grand coalition with the DA. They are not speaking to their counterparts. And we're asking them a simple thing that, ANC, you asked for 2%, and the DA refused. And you have dropped it now to 0.5% a year. And the DA is still refusing. They are your partners. You have considered. They are not considered. They are not. They are not retreating from their own stance. Why are you so scared of white people? Because we're not going to negotiate with you or get into any discussion, and we must put it clear that the EFF will never support any VAT increase. That one, it's not the basis of anything. We won't support any VAT increase. But we're saying, why would you want to come to us when you've got partners in the GNU, you've got DA, you've got IFP, you've got all the group that is there? Go and speak to them and be bold enough, because you invited them. You always claim that it's an ANC-led GNU. You invited these people. Why are you scared of white people? Because they must tell them that we've considered ourselves from 2%, we're at 0.5%. Why are you not preparing to concede on anything as DA? But white arrogance and white supremacy, it won't agree. So we're not going to be used by the ANC, because they can't confront their own partners. They're in the GNU, we're on the opposition, we don't support any VAT increase, but our doors are open for genuine negotiation, honest negotiation, not trying to trick us or blackmail us into some discussion because we are scared of telling the white people. But to put it simple, the EFF will get into genuine and serious negotiations with the ANC when the DA and the Freedom Front Plus is not there, is not in that GNU.
So the EFF is suggesting 3 things that needs to be done for them to agree with the ANC. 3 things they are suggesting. So number 1, the EFF is clear. No VAT increase. They are saying what the DA is saying. And the ANC-DA conflict is about that. So it means that the ANC has miscalculated this deal of saying that they will rather approach the EFF, because the EFF is clear, no VAT increase. That's number 1. Their position is the same as the DA's. Then number 2, the EFF is saying we don't want to work with the DA, right? And the DA on the other side said to the ANC, we don't want to work with the EFF. So the EFF is saying to the ANC, dumps the DA. Then the DA is saying to the ANC, don't invite the EFF. Number 3, the EFF made it absolutely clear they don't want to work with the FF Plus, right? And the FF Plus is quiet, is not fighting like the DA when it comes to their relation with the ANC. So the EFF is clear. They are putting the standard on the table to say that, no, if you want to work with us, get rid of these 3. We can work with you. Take us inside the GNU, but don't do a VAT increase. Get rid of the DA and the FF Plus. Then we shall work together. So I want to ask you this question. Do you think that the ANC is willing to sacrifice the DA for what the EFF is suggesting, the standard of the EFF? Because remember what Fikile Mbalula said. He said that when they first spoke with the EFF gave them 10 commandments. Seems like the EFF is now giving them 3 commandments. So are they willing now to sacrifice and to take the offer because the GNU is not agreeing at all, right? But let me just whisper something to you that I've heard, because I did hear the likes of Paul Mashatile. Did you hear what Paul Mashatile said? Just listen here.
A bit about the GNU. I know many of you like this one. The future of South Africa under the GNU. I had an opportunity last year to do a visiting working visit to the UK and Ireland, and everywhere I arrived, people wanted to know what is the GNU, and I had to explain. Now, Program Director, yesterday we witnessed the presentation of the budget of the Government of National Unity by the Minister of Finance, which was in response to President Cyril Ramaphosa's priorities as outlined in the State of the Nation address. You will recall that in the State of the Nation address, the President said a lot of things that we need to do as a country. Now we need to fund those things. Now, the budget was presented, but many of you will recall that on the 19th of February, when the budget was supposed to be postponed, was supposed to be presented, it was postponed. So we then agreed that we will come back after we have looked at the issues that I can refer to as contentious issues. When we sat in the cabinet, there were issues that we thought we need to resolve before we rush to present the budget. And that's why the budget was postponed. But we subsequently reached consensus on a number of these issues, and we were able then to move ahead yesterday. Now, we have learned a lot of lessons through this process. One of the lessons we have learned is that we can't present a budget the way we used to do all the years. The budget needs to be fully discussed with all partners in the GNU, because you say that the Minister of Finance, like all ministers before him, will always treat the budget as confidential. And the reasons is because in the budget there are numbers that are sensitive to the markets. So they'll always treat it as confidential. But we said to the Minister of Finance, we understand that, but take us into confidence well before the time. So the President then said to the Minister, brief all the leaders of the GNU, which we did on Monday evening. And then, of course, yesterday morning, the cabinet met. Now, Program Director, I have indicated on several occasions when I speak about what we do as a GNU that we don't agree on everything. And we knew from the beginning that we're not going to agree on everything. There will be times when we view things differently. But what brings us together is our agreement that we must put South Africa first.
So basically what Paul has said is the EFF is no longer coming to the table. It's no longer coming to form part with the ANC. It's no longer coming to be part of the GNU. So the deal of the EFF is history, is the past. It won't happen. Forget it. Why? Paul, in that clip that I just played, did explain that they've come to terms with the DA and they've agreed. So the budget has now decided upon between the ANC and the Democratic Alliance. So it means that the GNU has found the solution of what was happening. The only thing that we are waiting for is just officially so. Enoch Godongwana must just come and announce it on what is happening there, what was their final decision. It was unfortunate that the Deputy President Paul Mashatile never disclosed the outcome because he'll be blowing things out of proportion, you know. But he had to say that, no, we've come to our consensus, we've come to agree to say that this will be what we are moving with. So, in other words, oh, by the way, he did outline to say that the president has appointed him as a deputy president to work hand to hand with Helen Zille, right, and to assist Enoch Godongwane to formulate what the budget speech. So what was coming, it is now the partnership of Paul, Helen, and Enoch coming together now to give the country their final decision. So bye-bye to the MK, bye-bye to the EFF, welcome the DA, welcome the FF Plus, let the GNU continue according to the ANC. Please, you can subscribe to this channel, and please don't forget, you can leave your comment and let us hear what is your take on this matter. Until we meet on the next video, and I'm out.